Consul General of Cuba in Toronto, Victor Manuel Garcia Sánchez, was born and raised in the province of Havana, Cuba. He holds a degree in philosophy from the University of Havana, and in 2025 obtained a postgraduate degree in international relations, also at the University of Havana. He started his career as a diplomat in 2015 as a specialist in the Latin American and Caribbean Department at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Cuba. In 2017, he was appointed head of the consular office of the Cuban Embassy in Stockholm, Sweden. He completed his mission in Sweden in 2022 and returned to Havana to work as a specialist in the office of the Cuban Minister of Foreign Affairs until October 2025, when he was appointed Consul General of Cuba in Toronto. He arrived in Toronto on November 21st, 2025. Victor is married to Ana Laura Diaz Crespo, and they have a daughter, Diana. In his role as Consul General, Mr. Garcia Sánchez works with and represents the Cuban community living in the Greater Toronto Area, who number more than 10,000 people, the largest in Canada. He helps Cubans living in the GTA to interact with and integrate into Canadian society. He and his staff also work hard to strengthen relations between Cuba and the Government of Ontario, as well as municipal governments in the Greater Toronto Area and region, given the importance of Ontario and the GTA in the political, economic, and cultural life of Canada. In addition, Victor works to strengthen ties of friendship and solidarity between the Canadian and Cuban people by speaking with students, workers, and community organizations about developments in Cuba and Cuba's place in the world. So today, I present you Victor, and I'm sure he's going to speak about exactly those things.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Margaret, for this presentation. It seems I have been here more than 6 months. I arrived, as you say, in November last year. So I didn't bring a formal speech or political speech, because I think that when you read something, you have some limitation. What are you feeling from the audience? So I want to share with you information, of course, update about the situation in Cuba, but also I'm here to hear from you if you have any question at the end. We'll be very glad to answer. Even it's not from this podium, personally also I have the time to share with you. But I feel very honored, of course, to be here in Windsor. It's my first time. After Toronto, I only was in Ottawa, so I have a lot of work to do here in Ontario. Of course, it's the most important, I think, province here in Canada, and I feel very proud to be here and to share with you and to talk with you today, because I feel a lot of proud to meet wonderful people every day here in Canada that love Cuba, that respect Cuba, and right now they are helping Cuba in this hard moment. So thank you, all of you, for this. First of all, on the other hand, maybe I want to highlight or to start with some background about why we are on this moment in Cuba. Maybe people wonder how Cuba is in this point right now. And I remember many of you have been in Cuba for many times, and you met Cuba very well, maybe more than me. Exactly. But I think that it's important to talk a little about the Cuban history, because we have a beautiful history in our country. So before the 1959, many brave persons, many important leaders tried to find and to fight for an independence, independence country. And this is very important, because right now we are in the same problem, no? To protect and to defend the independence and the sovereignty, because we cannot take independence without sovereignty. Maybe some people confuse this, Because maybe some people say you have a constitution, you have election, but some countries have sovereignty, some countries have constitution, election, apparently have sovereignty, but I think that if you constantly as forced to do things, if you don't have the rights or the moment or the opportunity to decide that your country need to do to move forward and to take care of people, and you need that someone or something or some entity or some companies demands that you need to do, you don't have sovereignty. So that is something that the Cuban Revolution understand, and Fidel was very important, which is the leadership of Fidel Castro Ruz was very important to fulfill and to do that, no? Because they understand, they had a dream that Cuba needs sovereignty and independence at the same time. And they saw many problems in the society that will be solved in some way. No? Mainly, the basic problem that the society need to take care, the food, guaranteed to have food for people, houses for people, health care, education, and of course, this is the most important principle that the Fidel and the other leadership built during the process of the Cuban, or have built during the process of the Cuban Revolution. So, and this is something that Fidel say, well, I understand this, but I need that the people also join to me and share with me these dreams and this concept and this principle. And this is a huge task that he started at the beginning of the revolution to talk with the people, to consult people, to talk with people, to say, to understand, to give the people the opportunity to choose their own destiny. So for that, and Fidel also said the most important is that we need to be united in every problem, in every moment. For hard that moment was, we need to be united. No one can the decision or the right to destroy our unity. So those principles are very important, are the fundamental in our process. So we keep and we need to protect and defend those principles in any scenario that we are facing right now. During the process of the revolution, of course, we're suffering a lot of hard moments due to the sanctions imposed by the U.S. government in all our 67 history of independence, constantly, every day, every minute, every second. This is something very important, because sometimes we heard on the media and we heard about me, for example, or the Cuban leader of the Cuban government, the impact on the blockade, the damage that the blockade provoked on the Cuban society. But for the people that live inside Cuba every day, for the families that every day need to go to the work, to their jobs, to the school, the children, the kids, to the hospital to receive the services, you can see the impact in every corner of the Cuba. It's something, maybe I cannot graphic now all the impact, but it's true. You can see in every corner of the Cuban society, in every sector of the Cuban economy. So we are dealing with this situation for 65 years up to now. And of course, the Cuban government, along with the people, with the population, every day we are trying to find a new solution to overcome this difficult situation. But in this moment, right now, today, the impact on the blockade in Cuba, the impact on the sanction has a new quality. And our president, Díaz-Canel, say sometimes in his speech, it's a new quality because right now, this is a different international scenario also. We are living in a crazy world, I can say, where the rules are not the same. No one respects the rules right now, mainly the government of the US. And they are the most powerful country in the world, military, and also the most important economy in the world. And they are trying to suffocate and to punish. As we say, it's a collective punishment. Because they say every day that is to punish the Cuban government, but in the reality, it's the people that are most suffering. Because we see there is a statistics from 2 years up to now that say that due to the sanctions, there are people dying in Cuba, kids mainly, seniors, women, that they cannot receive the treatment to, for example, for the cancer, that they cannot receive the transplant of any organs due to the situation. They cannot receive the medicines, important medicines that we need, because the U.S. companies have their are owner of the pharmaceutical companies around the world. But the difference maybe with another time also, one important difference now is they are more aggressive abroad, so the diplomatic, they are more, not only rhetoric, they are taking actions to threat some governments and say, if you help Cuba, if you continue to send oil to Cuba, for example, if you send medicine to Cuba, if you continue to cooperating with Cuba, we are cut off the aid that we are giving you. And this is, unfortunately, there are some small countries like Cuba that depends a lot of the US aid. And this is something very cynic. It's a crime, it's a genocide. In every tribune that we have the opportunity to speak, we defend the idea that this is the genocide every day, that they punish, that they trade. So there is a memorandum from 1962 that say the same that we are occurring right now. So try to starve the Cuban people, try to get the Cuban people to suffer in order that the population go to the street and throw down the government. But this is very dangerous. This is a difficult moment for the Cuban families. As you heard in the news, from 5 months, from December last year up to now, we have only received one shipment with fuel, only one shipment, and this fuel only we can use it only for 15 days. So right now we have not any fuel coming from anywhere, and the fuel is basic for the Cuba, for the life, for the Cuban economy, but also for the Cuban family, because they need to cook, they need to the domestic work that do every day do it in your homes, no? But the most important is that you need the fuel to run out the hospital. You need the fuel to run out the transportation, public transportation. So right now, really, it's a crisis that we are living in Cuba. But the most, I think that this sad scenario that we are living inside Cuba, there is many lights that also we see. One of them, of course, is that we are not with our head under the pillow. Of course, we never do that in our history. But we are taking some actions. We are taking some steps. We are doing some important changes inside Cuba internally. Not because we receive the pressure or because USA say that we need to change. It's also very important that I point out this. It's not because they say that we need to change. It's because we understand that we are in the right moment to do these changes. Because we talk with the people on the street, we consult people, and people support the Cuban government in this process. So we are taking some actions. We are trying to move forward, to revitalize our economy, and there are recently the government approved 176 measures in order to move forward and to push more the economy and to work with many sectors inside the country. But the most important is also that we are sending a message to our friends abroad, that Cuba is alive, that Cuba is open, that Cuba doesn't have afraid to change or to take measures in order to relieve the situation that the people are suffering, but also, and we always say at the same time, that Cuba is not on the disposition to negotiate our political system with anyone. We demand respect. We demand that we sit on the table with any country to talk about any issue, but with bilateral reciprocity and respect each other. And I say this because also I think that you heard that we opened a channel of conversation with the U.S. government maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago. We have the will to advance in this conversation with this basis that I mentioned, but we see that they don't have the will to do that. They every time demands that we need to change our political system, that we need to remove our leader. So, and it's something that we never will do. We never are going to do this because we have a strong democratic system. And Fidel also say, and this is something that the Cuban Revolution maybe is trying to defend in every scenario that we can. There is no an only way to build a political system. There is an only way to defend the democracy. So we have our own way due to our history, our background, and we have the support of millions of Cuban people. You could see in the last parade on May 1st, 6 million of people go to the street to march in defense of the Cuban Revolution. And some crazy people say that it was enforced. It's impossible to force 6 million people. But every time we hear this about the medias, and the medias has, unfortunately, a lot of influence on the people, no? On the people. And this is something that also the revolutionary and also the people with the good heart need to maybe change and to try. It's very difficult because they have a lot of money and they support politicians. This is taken back between the politician and the politics and the medias, no? But we have also alternative media that we can use to speak with the truth, to show the people that there is different ways to live, to build a better world, to be together, to create bonds, solidarity, and to share the important values. And I think with all the humble and the honesty that characterized the Cuban Revolution for many years, that Cuba has an important role in this world in that sense. Maybe not in the economic field because we have undeveloped country, but we have the capacity and the capability to join other peoples around the world in this fight. So I think that at the end of this speech, I want to highlight the connection between Canada and Cuba. And the people in Canada, mainly the people in Canada and the people of Cuba. For me, have been a big surprise, but a wonderful surprise. See how deep is the connection in between both countries, no? Not the governmental level. We have good relationship, bilateral relationship with the Canadian government for 81 years. We established a bilateral relationship without interruption, without any gaps. I think that is Mexico and Canada is the only both two countries in the world that have this kind of relationship with Cuba. But I want to highlight the connection with the people because since I arrived, I received a lot of support and messages and love from the Canadian people, not only the solidarity groups or movement, from individual people on the street, in every place that I walk, that I have the opportunity to go and to talk with any regular people on the street. Cuba, yes, of course, the beautiful country, good people. I have been here, there, more than 20 times, 30 times, more than 100 times, some people. So it's amazing. It's amazing. So I think that our countries and our people deserve in this moment protect and defend this connection. Even if we are seeing that in some point, some representative or official people in Canada has taken the decision that we are not seeing with good eyes, no? But I think that we need to protect our bonds and our links on the people-to-people level. And you have all the rights, I think, to demand this and to ask your official representative that you are worried about Cuba, that you don't want any military intervention in Cuba, because this is also a thing that we need to highlight. It's a different. Some years ago, quality different about the sanctions. Every day, the U.S. government said that Cuba is next, that we are ready to take Cuba. The easily way they say. I think that they are so far of the truth in that sense. Cuba has never been taken easily, but well, we want, of course, go to the war. No, we want to avoid that scenario, because at the end, many million, no thousand or million of people will die, because millions of people has the intention to defend the Cuban Revolution. But as Canadian citizen, I suggest, and this is advice, that you have the right and the opportunity to say, we don't want that Cuba is going to take by the US. We don't want a military intervention. We don't want that the Cuban people die. And this is something that maybe you can push on the union level, maybe in the other solidarity movement group, or the students also. I received a lot of messages from the university here in Toronto that they are with Cuba, they travel to Cuba also with their family, but also we have programs and cooperation with university from here in Canada and the university in Cuba, in different parts of Cuba, not only in Havana. So there are a lot of students that also support the Cuban cause and the Cuban Revolution, and they love Cuba. And the other thing I think that also we need to defend is the traditional position that Canada for many years have been taking related with the US blockade. So this is something that we need to keep our fight, we need to keep our energy in this, because also there are a lot of pressure from the government, from the US on the government of the world to change the vote in this next election, in this next resolution, sorry, in the UN. So we need to also take a look of this. But so my friends, because I consider all people here are friends of Cuba, I will be here for years more. I hope that I can work together with you. I hope that the next time that we see you, Cuba has in a different moment, at a better moment. But I am sure that in any moment that Cuba will be, you are with us, that you support Cuba, that you defend Cuba. For that, thank you so much, and I appreciate all the effort and all the energy that you put to help my country. So thank you so much. And I see you next time. Thank you.